entry level, we can say it's the most stylish C-series smartphone we've tried. If you want to know more about this device, here's our full review. Right from the get-go, the Realme C35 is a large phone to hold. The frame has flat edges and also has metallic paint job that reminds us of the newer iPhone models, but it isn't particularly comfortable to hold if you have small hands. Talking more about its stunning design, we have a polycarbonate rear panel that features a glass-like finish. There's also a protruding camera to the upper corner of the back panel. The unit that we have now comes in glowing green, which looks pretty cool, especially when reflected on by light. Looking at the front, the Realme C35 has a mini drop-notch design, which is pretty dated, since a lot of entry-level phones are starting to adopt the punch-hole camera layout. It also has a very noticeable bezel by the chin. And another thing that might bother you is the lack of Corning Gorilla Glass protection, but we do get a pre-installed screen protector, which is a good thing to say the least. As for the buttons and ports, on the left we have the card tray for 2 nano-sized SIM cards and a dedicated slot for the microSD card. Below that are the volume buttons. To the right we have the power strap button that also works as the device's fingerprint scanner. The buttons are tactile, soft, and quiet. They are placed in the middle of the frame so they're easy to reach. Down at the bottom we have the 3.5mm audio jack, microphone, USB-C port, and loudspeaker. Now, focusing onto the display, we get a 6.6-inch IPS panel running at a resolution of 2408 by 1080, which equates to 401 ppi. Colors are nice and vibrant, viewing angles are decent, and shows good contrast, especially when watching multimedia content. The LCD panel does have up to 600 nits of peak brightness, which is quite useful in sunny outdoor conditions. It also has a touch sampling rate of 180Hz for better touch responsiveness. Audio-wise, the device boasts a single downward-firing speaker, and you'll be better off using your favorite pair of earphones or external speakers if you want to listen to anything other than just voice calls. The sound can easily get distorted at maximum volume. Lowering it though would make it sound too soft. Okay, so running the software department is Realme UI R Edition based on Android 11. The R Edition is still on Android 11, and do take note that an update to the next iteration could take time with Realme's budget phones. Its notification and custom apps aren't too obtrusive. The menus actually look very familiar to stock Android, but are still far from being stock Android. Pre-installed apps includes the standard Google Suite and Realme's native applications, including Realme Link and Realme Community. Storage-wise, out of the box, the Realme C35 packs 64 gigs of internal storage. Expanding the storage is more than welcome as the device has its dedicated microSD card slot. At the core of the Realme C35 is a Unisoc Tiger T616 chipset, a Mali G57 GPU, along with 4 gigs of RAM and up to 128 gigs of internal storage. Now, performance is sufficient for most basic tasks like browsing social media and other light apps, but when it comes to multitasking, when several things are happening in the background all at once, you'll notice some lag. But if you're not the type to juggle through different apps, it should work just fine. When it comes to gaming, the phone can handle graphically intensive games pretty well. For some numbers, check out these benchmark scores that we got. Now for connectivity, the device comes with the standard wireless features such as 4G LTE, Wi-Fi 5, Bluetooth 5.0, GPS, and USB Type-C. As for the battery, it comes with 5,000 mAh with support for 18-watt fast charging. We ran through PCMark's battery test, and the Realme C35 yielded a score of 15 hours and 15 minutes, making this device a good media consumption companion. Now when it comes to charging, the device reaches 0 to 100% with a little over an hour and 30 minutes. Now when it comes to cameras, the Realme C35 has a total of 4. We get a triple rear setup consisting of a 15-megapixel main, 2-megapixel macro, 2-megapixel depth, and of course an LED flash. In front we got an 8-megapixel sensor for selfies. Shots taken with the rear camera are not too bad. Colors look a little bit washed out, although this can be remedied to some degree of Auto HDR and AI sync recognition. Portrait mode using the main shooter works well, but could use a little work when it comes to subject background separation. As for the macro shooter, it was a hit or miss depending on the amount of light. Now when it comes to low light shots, detail were captured reasonably well for a budget smartphone, though there was an occasional flaring on the lens. Selfies were apt video recording. We have a choice of shooting at either 720p or 1080p at 30 frames per second. Quality is enough for casual use, and since it doesn't have any form of stabilizations, you're gonna have to keep your hands steady if you want those smooth shots. Alright, if you're a casual user who's just looking for a solid daily driver for light tasks, keep you connected online, a device that can cater to your binge watch needs, and capable cameras without breaking the bank, keep this device in mind. And for the price, the Realme C35 is priced at 8,499 pesos for the 4 gigs of RAM plus 64 gigs of internal storage, and 9,499 pesos for the 4 gigs plus 128 gigs of internal storage. So that's about it. That is our Realme C35 review. Let us know what you think about this device in the comment section below, and if you find this video helpful, be sure to drop